So you're sick of having flat, straight hair. This is something that I can absolutely relate to. If I step out of the shower and don't do anything with my hair, it is left as flat as it gets. It just flops down straight forwards, looks like someone's hit me over the head with a frying pan. It can be tricky to add extra texture to your hair, to make it look a little bit thicker, and to give it a bit of a rougher and more playful, natural look. The first step to getting more texture into your hair is to do with the cut itself. If you're someone that doesn't naturally have quite a lot of texture in your normal hair, then this can be something that's critically important, because the cut often determines the way that the hair sits, and when it's cut correctly, it can make the texturizing process miles easier. Next time you go for a haircut, make sure you tell the barber to add extra texture. This is what I had done to my hair quite recently when I visited the Slick Hair studio. If you want to see that video in full, check it on the iScreen above. But while I was having my hair cut, the barber cut vertically down into certain sections of my hair. Not so far that he was thinning the hair overall, but just enough so that I had hair strands of varying length all the way across. And this meant that when my hair was sitting normally, it had slightly more texture to begin with, and when using products later on, this just made it a whole load easier. So if your barber isn't doing this or isn't prepared to try something like this, then change barber. The second easy way to get texture in your hair is to use a texturizing pre-styler. If you're not already using any form of pre-styler, then I would recommend it to any guy with hair. Pre-stylers are essentially products that you chuck into your hair right before using a hairdryer. Some of these can help to protect the hair strands anyway, but also they offer extra effects like increasing the volume in your hair. Or in the case of sea salt sprays like this one, they really focus on adding texture to the hair. One of my favorites is probably the saltwater spray from Dadude. I'll link this one as well as any of the other products in this video down in the description as well if you want to check them out. But I like this one because not only do you get a lot for your money, but also the texturizing effect is really strong. Stops it from looking super flat in the first place, but also while you're using that with the hairdryer, then make sure you use some type of brush. Tips 3 and 4 on this list are going to be a couple of different techniques that you can use with your hairbrush to increase the texture of your hair. The first one of these techniques I like to call the zigzag. For obvious reasons, essentially whilst you're drying your hair, you just make like little zigzag shapes in the top of your hair, moving from one side across to the other. Be quite vigorous with this, not to the extent where you're ripping out hair strands, but you've got to put some force into this. This basically pushes the hair strands in different directions. This might not be effective if you have really long hair, however, because all you'll be doing is moving the same hair strand all the way across. But if you've got shorter hair, this works really, really nicely. Also, there's the upwards curl motion. This is normally the one that I use to sort of get my hair up at the front and then at the side of a quiff. But what you can do is use this on the body of the hair in a variety of different directions to get it to stick up. Especially when you've got the hairdryer on this as well, it really seals it into position and then maintains that level of texture throughout the rest of the day. You can go from the front and then just carry this process on right to the back. Once more, incredibly easy, might be a better option if you do have slightly longer hair. So your hair is probably going to be looking pretty good by this stage, but often the texture will collapse throughout the day. You're going to have to use some form of decent styling product in order to maintain it. I've got a couple of options here. First one, if you're a guy with thicker hair, one of the best products I've used in terms of texture at least is the Blue Man Cavalier Clay. Not my favorite with my hair, doesn't particularly work very well, it's quite greasy. Definitely designed for guys with thicker hair without a doubt. But one thing I will say for it that I noticed straight away, this offers, as it advertises, extreme texture in the hair. Maybe you've got like a front crop going on, this could be a good option. Smells really nice too, very traditional style clay, that's a good choice. Or if you're a guy with thinner hair looking to get as much texture as possible, but you're afraid something like this will weigh your hair down, which it does for me, you'll want to use some sort of texturizing powder. You can get loads of different texturizing powders. We've even got another one just here as well. All work quite similarly in all truth. But my pick of the bunch is the Bivolane Blow. This one has a bit of a funny name, but it does have the best applicator by a mile. This one kind of shoots the powder onto your head instead, which I find is great because it evenly disperses the product. Whereas lots of the other types, they just come with a simple dispenser at the top where you sort of tip it onto your head, and then often you're left with clumps of the powder in your hair, which kind of makes it a bit more difficult to style. Whereas this one is the only one that I've found so far that allows you to sort of fire it onto your head, which is a lot better. It also makes it a bit quicker to use. I like lazy stuff, so this is my pick for that one. Whichever of those two you use, you're going to be pretty pleased with the results. There are many other products out there that you can use that come with great hold and stuff like that, but really in terms of texture, they're two of my favorite ones for adding texture specifically.